Good morning, students. So, today we will discuss three cell organelles: mitochondria, lysosome, and vacuole. So, first we will start with the mitochondria. So, mitochondria is known as powerhouse of the cell. So, why mitochondria is known as powerhouse of the cell? So, because for our day-to-day life work, so we need energy or power. For example, for walking, for running, for playing. So we need energy. So this energy mainly comes from the mitochondria. So hence mitochondria is known as powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria have two membrane coverings. The outer membrane is porous while the inner membrane is deeply folded. So this mitochondria have two membranes, so it is very important point. So mitochondria and plastid, these are the two cell organelles which remain surrounded by double membranous structure. So mitochondria is one of them. So mitochondria, it remains surrounded by two membranes and the outer membrane, so this outer membrane is porous. So we have to remember that outer membrane is porous while the inner membrane, so it is deeply folded. So this is the structure of mitochondria. So in this structure we can see that mitochondria, it is surrounded by double membranous structure. So this one is outer membrane. So this is outer membrane and this is the inner membrane. And this inner membrane is very deeply folded. So in this diagram you can see that inner membrane, they are deeply folded. So this deeply folded inner membrane, so they form a structure known as crista. And inside this structure crista, so we can see a watery fluid remain filled, and this watery fluid is known as matrix. And the space between the outer membrane and inner membrane, so this membrane is known as intermembrane space. And mitochondria, they possess their own ribosome and they have their own DNA. So that's why they are also known as semi-autonomous cell organelle. So why mitochondria, they are known as semi-autonomous cell organelle? Because they possess their own ribosome and DNA. So now we'll talk about the folds. So these folds increase surface area for ATP generating chemical reaction. So these crista, so they are mainly increase the surface area and it will help in the formation of ATP. So this is the ATP which will be formed, and the energy required for various chemical activities needed for life is released by mitochondria in the form of ATP. So for performing various life activity we need energy, and this will be provided by mitochondria and it will be produced in the form of ATP. What is the full form of ATP? So ATP is, the full form of ATP is adenosine triphosphate. So ATP is also known as energy currency of the cell. So for example, if we want to purchase anything from market, so we need money. So in same manner, for performing our day-to-day life task, so we need energy. So this energy comes from ATP. So hence it is known as energy currency of the cell. The body uses energy stored in ATP for making new chemical compounds and for mechanical work. Mitochondria are strange organelles in the sense that they have their own DNA and ribosomes. So that's why they are known as semi-autonomous cell organelle, because they can replicate by their own. Now we'll study the next cell organelle, which is the lysosome. So structurally, lysosomes are membrane-bound sacs filled with digestive enzymes. So lysosome is a cell organelle which will contain the hydrolytic enzyme. So this is the structure of lysosome. So this is the membranous covering, and inside this lysosome, hydrolytic enzymes, they remain present. So these enzymes are made by rough endoplasmic reticulum. So this is very important. So the hydrolytic enzymes filled in the lysosome, so they are made up from the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Lysosomes are a kind of waste disposal system of the cell. These help to keep the cell clean by digesting any foreign material as well as worn out cell organelles. So the main function of this lysosome, so it is mainly a kind of waste disposal system of the cell. Whatever waste will be produced, they will be dumped inside the lysosome. Foreign materials entering the cell such as bacteria or food as well as old organelles end up in the lysosome, which break complex substances into simpler substances. So the main function of lysosome is that if the bacteria or any foreign particle will enters into the cell, then lysosome they will digest them. Even if the cell organelles they will get old, so they will be digested by the lysosome. So lysosomes are able to do this because they contain powerful digestive enzymes capable of breaking down all organic materials. So how this lysosome they are capable to do this? So because they possess a strong hydrolytic enzyme in them. So during the disturbance in cellular metabolism, for example, when the cell gets damaged, lysosome may burst and the enzymes digest their own cells. So this is the main function of lysosome. So suppose that if any cell gets damaged or gets infected, then the lysosome will burst and hydrolytic enzymes it will come out from the lysosome and it will digest the entire cell. So hence lysosome is also known as suicidal bag of the cell. Now we'll discuss one more cell organelle, which is the vacuoles. So vacuoles are storage sacs for solid or liquid contents. So vacuoles are small size in animal cell, while plant cells have very large vacuole. So this is a basic difference between the plant cell and animal cell. Generally, plant cell they possess large vacuole. So this is a diagram of plant cell. In this diagram, you can see that this particular structure is a vacuole, and it occupy around 80 to 90% of the space of the cell. The central vacuole of some plant cells may occupy around 50 to 90% of the cell volume. In plant cells, vacuoles are full of cell sap and provide turgidity and rigidity to the cell. So this is a function of vacuoles. So they provide turgidity and rigidity to the cell. Many substances of importance in the life of the plant cell are also stored in vacuoles, such as the amino acid, sugar, various organic acids and proteins. So they will be stored in the vacuole. In single-celled organism like amoeba, the food vacuole contains the food items that the amoeba has consumed, and the digestion of food will take place inside the food vacuole. In some unicellular organisms, specialized vacuoles also play important roles in expelling excess water and some waste from the cell. So there is one more type of vacuole remain present in unicellular organism, and that is contractile vacuole, and it will act as a similar to the excretory organ present in higher animals. So they will expelled out the excess water and some waste present in the cell, and such type of vacuole is known as contractile vacuole. So this much only in this video. Now we will revise these cell organelles with the help of animation video. Thank you.
Metabolic functions. Did you know that the cell has different organelles? We will explore them now. This is the protein synthesizing site of the cell, called the endoplasmic reticulum. It is an irregular network of double tubular membrane, continuous with the nuclear membrane on the inside. There are two types of endoplasmic reticulum: rough and smooth. Rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes present on it, while they are absent on smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum synthesizes proteins, while smooth endoplasmic reticulum synthesizes lipids and fats. Some of these proteins and lipids help in building the cell membrane and some function as enzymes and hormones. Endoplasmic reticulum serves as channels for the transport of proteins between various regions of the cytoplasm. Do you know what these small spherical granules are? These are ribosomes found scattered in the cytoplasm or attached to the outside of the endoplasmic reticulum. These are naked and have no membrane. Ribosomes synthesize proteins. Here's another organelle. This is the site for storing and transporting proteins across the cytoplasm, called Golgi apparatus. Named after Camillo Golgi, who first described it, Golgi apparatus are stacks of flattened membrane-bound sacs or vesicles. These stacks are called cisterns. Vesicles containing soluble proteins produced by the endoplasmic reticulum fuse with dictosomes. These vesicles are transported across the cytoplasm. They fuse with the cell membrane and release the proteins outside the cell. Golgi bodies are also known for the synthesis of glycoproteins. This is the powerhouse of the cell called mitochondria. They have their own DNA and ribosomes to synthesize respiratory enzymes. These enzymes oxidize glucose molecules to produce energy in the form of adenosine triphosphate or ATP. This energy is used for chemical activities and mechanical work. Mitochondria have outer and inner membranes. The inner membrane folds into cristae, creating more area to make ATP. These are lysosomes that keep the life factory clean. Usually absent in plants but present in animals, they contain 40 different types of digestive enzymes. These enzymes destroy injured or old organelles and foreign substances like bacteria and leave the destroyed contents outside the cell. Interestingly, lysosomes are also known as suicide bags. When the cell gets damaged, the lysosome may burst and its enzymes may digest the cell itself. Let's now focus on the storage granules. They are of two types. Starch granules are storage droplets of starch. Lipid granules are storage droplets of fat. Cells have storage units called vacuoles. They store water, energy, and waste products and substances like amino acids, sugars, and proteins. The fluid contained in them is called cell sap. A vacuole is covered by a living membrane called tonoplast. You've seen this cell before, haven't you? Yes, it's a plant cell. I'll show you an organelle present only in plant cells, the plastids. There are two types of plastids, colored plastids called chromoplasts and colorless plastids called leucoplasts. Plastids containing chlorophyll are known as chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are important for photosynthesis. Chloroplasts have membranous layers called grana in a ground substance called stroma. Leucoplasts store starch, oils, and protein granules.